Howdy there, folks. This is Geist with another Destiny 2 video. Today we are doing a review of the Vex Mythoclast, which is essentially an auto rifle version of a fusion rifle. It has a secondary firing mode. After killing enough enemies, you will build up stacks of overcharge. Holding down on your reload button will swap into that alternate firing mode, which essentially turns it into a linear fusion. In PvP and in PvE, its max fall-off is about 32 meters, and at that range in PvP, you will need all 6 headshots in order to kill somebody. At ranges of about 25 and a little bit lower, and then anything closer than that, you can kill in 5 headshots and 1 body. So not a very forgiving TTK. You pretty much have to land all headshots most of the time. In the linear fusion mode, it can one-shot supers. Deals 239 to the Night Stalker Hunter there, deals 165 to the body on a regular Guardian, and 464 to the head on a regular Guardian. The Night Stalker does have obviously a good bit of damage resistance there, so this is fairly universal for most of the supers. It might struggle just a little bit against a Stasis Titan, but it should still get the one shot if you're able to get that headshot there. Otherwise, the linear fusion isn't super great in PvP. But moving on to PvE, the best class that I enjoy with this was the Warlock, and actually this is the same for PvP as well. The Warlock has the most synergy with this weapon in PvE and PvP. The Hunter doesn't really have any synergies with this weapon. The Titan with Sighton's Ramparts can be pretty fun because you're kind of like a little shielded turret, so that's a very good one to use if you want to be a Titan, especially in PvP. Combo this with Sighton's Ramparts. If you're a Warlock, in PvE, I like Top Tree Dawnblade. And you didn't in particular need any exotic to go with this. You can kind of just wear whatever you wanted. But essentially what I like to do is proc heat rises and then just float around shredding enemies with the regular fire. When you get to that alt fire and you hold to reload, it's actually going to reload the gun while also quickly swapping it into that linear mode a lot faster than you would if you were to reload it. So you get this nice kind of little tempo to the gun. You're going to sit there and shred enemies with the regular fire, then you swap into the other, it reloads it, blast them with the linear. Each of those linear shots only takes 1 shot out of your 33, so you still have 30 shots left over, and you can continue. That's more than enough to continue shredding enemies. So if you're doing this right, and if you can chain enough enemies together, you essentially never have to reload. In PvP, let me just summarize my experience in this one little clip.
You're defeated. Fight again. Persistence is key.
As I'm sure you can imagine, this guy has a lot of friends. But let me slow that down for you. See, right there, mid-roll, he's just killing me mid-roll while still in the animation. So, as our friend Batosai_X77 just demonstrated, who is either really, really good or a cheater, I don't know, anti-cheat's a thing now. Anytime you go up against a sweat, you're going to struggle with this gun. This gameplay that you're seeing right here is me playing against a bunch of players that are about average to a little bit lower. I mean, one of the players in this game is literally named Fiercest Nat, and he got 1 kill. So this is a little bit better. This is sort of the opposite end of the spectrum. And that's kind of where this gun sits. It does really well against lower skilled players, and it does really terrible against higher skilled players. And that almost explains the nature of the gun itself. Against any weapon that is in its archetype or in its range that it shines at, you are going to lose. So when you're fighting somebody and they're using an auto rifle, an SMG, a shotgun, a sidearm even, you're pretty much going to lose in CQC all the time, unless they're terrible. In mid-range engagements, you're going to get slapped by hand cannons and pulse rifles. I was lucky to get the trade there, but in general, something like the Messenger is going to absolutely tear you a new one. Any decent hand cannon user, or any cheater that can kill you with a hand cannon mid-roll, they're still going to slap you. You're going to struggle with it. Now, on the opposite end of that, if you catch a hand cannon user inside their comfortable range, if you catch a pulse user inside their comfortable range, If you catch an auto SMG sidearm user just outside of their comfortable range, that's where it shines. So it's a solid weapon, and it's definitely good, but it's not as OP and broken as everybody else makes it out to be. It is not the be-all, end-all. Case in point, every time you fight a gun that is in its comfort zone while you're either stretching yours out or a little bit too close, you're gonna struggle, and it's not the most powerful thing. The linear fusion mode in PvP, I didn't have a lot of success with. It's definitely strong. It's essentially just a free sniper that you can build up for killing a couple people. But in game modes like Trials, that requires you to kill a couple people and then try to get the third guy with the snipe that you got going on there. It's not always super reliable because you essentially have to kill 2/3 of the players in that, so that's why it's not that great. But then why are we seeing this so much in Trials? It's because it holds your hand. It does universally well against a lot of things. It's sort of a jack of all trades, master of none, because it can kind of do a little bit of everything. It can do the super long ranges, but you've got to build up to it in order to get to that. And on that note, save the linear fusion for supers, I would say. You do actually have a good chance of shutting them down. The aim assist is pretty generous, so don't be afraid to, the enemies are popping supers, or you know the super round is coming, and just save it, and as soon as you see the supers, back up into a corner, try to get a little bit of range, pop into that linear mode, and then just try to nail them in the head when they're coming at you. But back to why we're seeing this so much in Trials. The number one build, and you're not really seeing this too much on Titans and Hunters, you're almost exclusively seeing this on Warlocks, and the reason for that is, as I said earlier, Warlocks are the best for this in PvP as well. And the build you're going to see everybody doing is bottom tree arc with the stag. That arc soul comboed with this thing is absolutely nasty. And here's a fine example of me doing awesome with the linear. I just got scared, didn't use it, threw a grenade, and then died to a pulse. So, but when using the stag and arc soul, it's a very potent combo. And everybody, this is part of what's making people think the gun is so overpowered. Because you're getting shredded by it and arc soul. You're getting shot by arc soul as well. And arc soul is about in the range that this thing shines at. And so that's why they synergize so well. That effective range that both of them have is essentially the same thing. See right there, boom, that guy's dead, and there's not much you could have done about it. If you put Arc Soul on any other mid-range weapon like the Vex, it's also going to be powerful. This is not exclusive to the Vex. It's just that people are running this build because somewhere somebody figured out that this is what works, and that's what they're doing. But it's not an overpowered weapon. The only thing overpowered about it is the fact that it's got a lot of flinch. All in all, this is a balanced weapon, not really in my style, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, folks, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.